This is The Other 51. I'm Brian, and this week my guest is author Alysa Auriemma. My guest this week is the author of the brand new book, All Daughters Rise, which is out today on Amazon. And she is also making her, and I want to get this right, her 83rd appearance on The Other 51. Alysa Auriemma, welcome back and congratulations.
Are you sick of me yet?
If I were sick of you, no, of course not. Although it's weird. I don't think we have any, we have pop culture stuff we can talk about, but I don't think there's any like pressing things we need to complain about. Is there? I don't think so.
I don't think so. No. I anything that I've consumed over the last couple of months has been pretty good. I tried to avoid things that anger me, just as a rule over the last year or so. But no, I think that everything that I've enjoyed, pretty much everything I've consumed over the last little bit. So yeah. That's good.
Yeah, I know what's her name came out with a statement, but just so happened to come out. She said something about transgender people, but of course she has a book coming out, so we'll ignore that. So the question before we get to the book, and we got a lot to talk about with the book, is I am wearing my Steve Rogers the Musical t-shirt. How many times do you think you would go see Rogers the Musical if it were a real thing?
Oh God. Well, I don't know. Was it supposed to be funny? Like, I know, it was supposed to be a joke.
Yeah.
Because it was, I think I would see it once and then I would probably listen to it a lot and just laugh a lot. I think my reaction to it would have been what Clint's reaction to it was, which was just what is happening. But I did find out that the guy who played Steve was in a music video that Trixie Mattel, a drag queen that I love, put out a couple weeks ago called Hello, Hello. And it's like it's kind of a single ladies sort of spoof thing with like lots of dancing. And he was one of the backup dancers in it. And because I was looking up who was everybody, because Adam Pascal is in it and a few other people are in it. So I was like, oh, I wonder who else is in, maybe I just didn't recognize them because of the costumes or whatever. So I looked him up and I was looking through his Instagram and I was like, oh, he's one of the guys in the Hello, Hello video. That's great. So he's a really good dancer as well as a singer. But oh boy, it was, wow. I was just delighted. It was delightful.
So for the non-Marvel people in the audience, this is Rogers the Musical, which is kind of a running joke / thing in the Hawkeye series, which you should all watch. This, the Hawkeye series is great. If you know the comic, it is very true to the spirit of the comic. It's delightful. If you see the promos, the dog lives. That's an important thing to say. The dog lives and is fine, and Lucky gets a home, which he should. But there is a Steve Rogers musical, Rogers the Musical, throughout this, and it's throughout the MCU now because there's signs to it in the new Spider-Man. And I don't know. Yeah, it's a very campy musical. And I don't know. It's weird because that's taking place in a world where this actually happens. So, but make sure if you do watch Hawkeye, you watch the credit scene in the last episode, because that is the full song. No spoiler alert, because it doesn't really give anything away, but it's delightful. It's just so delightful.
I was really hoping that they would do that at some point, because you see the little bit, and I knew that they had released the full song, and musical theater nerd hat on. It was composed and written by Mark Shaman and Scott Whitman, who have done so many things. They're most famous probably to non-Broadway people for Hairspray. They did the music and lyrics for Hairspray, and they also, Mark Shaman has conducted the Oscar ceremony like 4,000 times. So when I saw that they were doing it, I was like, this is just great. This is
right.
Just great.
So your book is out today. As we release this, as we recorded, it's a few days before this. So how you feeling?
It keeps coming back and forth to me in stints. Like I keep forgetting that it's coming out almost. and then I go to edit it because I'm still editing.
Okay.
And I go, oh God, it's coming out in, like a couple weeks ago, it was, oh, it comes out in a month. And then, oh, it comes out in 2 weeks. Oh, it comes out next week. Oh, it comes out in like 4 days. Oh God. And I think if I keep thinking about it, I'm going to just hide under my bed. But I think that I just want people to read it. I just want people to actually like read it. Cause I've been yelling about it for 2 years. I've been talking about it. I've been promoting it. I'm sure everyone's sick of me talking about it. And I just want it out there. And I also just want it out there so I can start working on the second book, because I have not really done anything with the second book, because I keep focusing on things I need to fix in this book. And so finally, about 2 weeks ago, I wrote down a bunch of stuff, like a plot thing for the second book. So once this book gets out there and I can't touch it anymore, I'm going to dive right into the second book and just really start torching through that one just to get a draft written, because I have nothing.
So so this is interesting to me because it's December 30th as we record this, and the book is published on January 4th. I'm getting it delivered to my Kindle first thing or as soon as it's available.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're still editing it. Like, how does this whole part of the process work?
Well, so I'm publishing through Amazon Kindle Publishing, mainly, for a myriad of different reasons. The most transparent reason that I give, which is true, is that Amazon Kindle Publishing doesn't require you to pay anything to publish on their platform. And I was looking at different things and different places that I could publish through. And some of the places were saying like, oh, you have to pay like a ridiculous amount of money to publish because you have to do all these different things. And I was like, I can't pay $4,000 to publish something. Like, that's crazy. So I was looking around and I wanted to avoid Amazon because Jeff Bezos is, the devil. But I was looking through at different options, and what works for me right now is something that is incredibly low cost and allows me to keep a lot of the royalties. Mm-hmm. And Amazon does do that. So I know that there are many people out there that don't want that don't want to give money to Amazon, which I completely understand. At some point, it would be great if I could not be on Amazon. Maybe the next book, or maybe like another book later on, I'll do like Kobo or Barnes and Noble, because I know you can publish through Barnes and Noble too. But Kindle, you can get the app. You don't need the Kindle to read the book. You can, download the app on your computer, on your iPad, on your phone. And there is a paperback copy that will be available. So if you don't want to do Kindle, you can do that. And there's also the Kindle Unlimited program, which allows you to get more eyeballs on it, which I immediately jumped on, which allows you to lend out the book for free. So once it's out, if you can't afford to buy it right now, totally get it. You can rent it through the Kindle Unlimited program. It won't be on there for very long. Maybe like, I'm thinking about doing just like a promo, like, hey, the first 2 weeks the book is out, you can just read it for free, and then I'll put it back behind the paywall. Mm-hmm. But that was mainly my reasoning for choosing Amazon. I don't have to upload the manuscript until January 3rd. Okay. So once that is passed, like if I don't upload it by then they're like, you can't, like they ban you from publishing on their platform for like a little while. Like you can't, because you didn't follow through. Right. So I was like, oh, let me go back and like just double check and make sure everything is good with the manuscript. Let me make sure everything looks great. And then I just kept finding things to fix. And yeah, I'm pretty much done. I think I'm just going to spend the next 2 days just like blasting through and just fixing things, and just the things that I should have fixed a while ago. And I really do operate much better on an extreme time crunch. So there's that. So this is all stuff that I should have done over the summer, but now, like 4 days before the book comes out, I am just powering through. It's the equivalent of like when I was in college and I stayed up all night to finish a project the night before it was due. And then I did okay on it, you know?
I love this. I love this idea that you're publishing a book and on the day before it goes out to the world, you're still editing it. That's now, are you editing, or is it, obviously there's probably grammar, spelling, copy edit, stuff like that. Is there like plot points that you're changing, like, or major, like how surface level versus how deep are these changes going?
No, I'm not doing anything that big. It's mainly just, oh, this scene, I always meant to go back and just add little pieces to, I'm going to do that now. Or, oh, I didn't finish that particular thought. Let me go back and just make sure that it's good. And, you know, adding in M dashes when I should have added an M dash, or things like some places it's very, very little. And some places it's okay just adding in a couple more sentences, but it's nothing like I got to change everything. That's whatever happens on that at that level. Like I'm not doing that. Absolutely not.
so refresh the memory for people who haven't been or because it's been about a year and a half since we talked about the book on the podcast. We talk about it online all the time, but refresh people about what about your book, what the story is, and kind of the general overview of of your first book.
Okay, so let me get this right, because my boyfriend, I was on a podcast about a month ago and I summarized the book, and my boyfriend called me and he was like, so I listened to your podcast interview. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, you need to do a better job of summarizing what this book is about, because you really aren't doing a good job. And I was like, okay. So he was right though. In that interview, I was like, it's weird. And I don't know, because it was the first time I'd ever verbally summarized it to someone. So I just, so I'm going to do this better.
Okay.
All right. So it takes place in a kingdom with 3 separate courts: the court of magic, which is where the witches live; the court of silver, which is where the werewolves live; and the court of blood, which is where the vampires live. The story follows a main character, Sabrine, who is a witch, and she has crazy anxiety, and, kind of grew up hearing about this war that was taking place between her kingdom, the whole overall kingdom's known as Terra, between Terra and the world of the humans, which is called Fina. And she's just grown up hearing about it. And she's also grown up hearing about these women, all female warrior women, League of Warriors known as the Daughters, who were, horrible, murdering, secret police kind of people. She's grown up hearing about that. And the war didn't end very long ago. The war kind of really stopped when she was about 10 or so. She still has worries that it's going to come back. And the courts have enacted this barrier between their world and the human world in order to protect them. And it really only works if everybody, all the elders and everyone is kind of on board. So there's a moment where all the elders start dying, and they start dying on the feast days, festivals or solstice days of the kingdom. And as they're dying, the barrier is cracking more and more. And Sabrine's ex-girlfriend, who is a vampire and one of the daughters, who's been trying to restart the daughter program for years, shows up and says, well, we are probably going to be facing a huge invasion by the humans in like 6 weeks, because the next major solstice day is happening in 6 weeks. Tracking where they've been coming in, they're going to come in on this day, and we need you. And Sabrine's like, absolutely not. No way. Go screw yourself. Like, no, absolutely not. Mainly like, you broke my heart. I don't like this. This is terrible. This is a bad idea. Surprise. She then finds out that her mother, Sabrine's mother, was not only part of the daughters, she was like the leader of the daughters for years, and never told Sabrine, because she wanted Sabrine to have a normal life, a life that wasn't about war. Well, that was a mistake, because by keeping that secret from Sabrine, she's now completely unprepared for her new role, which was to be her mom's assistant, which is known as a shield. So the daughters and shields, there's a daughter and then there's their shield. If you've watched Wheel of Time, it's very similar to the Aes Sedai and the Warders, very similar to that. So the Aes Sedai channel the power, and then the Warders like support them, and there's a bond between them, and they get added like strength and agility and all of that. Now, thank God for Wheel of Time, because it's really helped me explain this concept. Yeah. And so the shields are like the Warders in that they get this accumulated strength. They also have really deep empathy powers they can channel too, but their power is about moving the energy to the daughter so the daughter can use it, all this kind of stuff. And depending on who you are in the kingdom, like if you're a wolf, a vampire, or a witch, you have different abilities. So Laura shows up. We're going back to war. Your mom was one of these people, one of these warrior people. You have to help out. And Sabrine's like, oh, absolutely not. But then a massive event hits their home, and Sabrine's kind of forced to do it. Very similar to Wheel of Time, where, you know, Moraine goes into the Two Rivers and is like, one of you is the Dragon Reborn. You all got to come with me. So the rest of the book is just the journey of her trying to figure out how she can do this, understanding that her anxiety and her empathy are kind of intertwined, and how her anxiety can help her with her empathy, and how that actually creates more power that she can't really control a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And she desperately wants to help and maybe save the world, and also make out with her ex-girlfriend. That would just be great too. So that is basically it. And I actually read a tweet the other day that was like, I want more fantasy stories where it's just like bros like going across the country and figuring things out, and just like the journey along the way. Right. This is the journey along the way. Awesome. And lots of other things kind of pop in there. There's other characters that I haven't mentioned. There's Sabrine's best friend, who is also part of this, and her partner, who is non-binary. And so there's just a lot of different things that are also in there. Mm-hmm. But that is kind of it. All right. Yeah. I think I did that better.
It sounds like it. I mean, I'm excited to read this for a lot of reasons, but mainly because this is not the type of genre that I tend to read a lot. It sounds like it was incredibly fun to write and to put together. Was it?
Yeah. And really stressful too, because I had all of these ideas going into it, and writing it at first, I was just like throwing things in there just to see what stuck, and the ending was completely different than what it is now. And I knew that it was not going to be enough. Well, I was going to have too much for one book, so it had to be a second book. I originally was planning on 3, but then I was like, nah, this story doesn't go beyond 2. This particular story, Sabrine's story, doesn't go beyond 2. There's other stories that will maybe come out that are connected to it, that will be in their own separate thing. But this particular story is 2. And once I realized, like, because there's a lot of push right now for standalone fantasy books, which is completely fine, unless there are like, now it's 7 of them, right? But a lot of fantasy authors that I've been seeing are doing single, like, standalone things, or duologies. Duologies seem to be kind of big right now. Veronica Roth did one, or it's like the classic trilogy. And then, so I was just kind of like, okay, like, let's see where this is going to go. And I started kind of figuring it out. And that's why it took me so long to write, because I finished the draft pretty quickly, but then, like, going back and actually looking at it, I was like, okay, this is the literature equivalent of throwing everything at a wall and seeing what, like, it was overwhelming. There was just too much. So I went back and I tried to pare it down. A friend of mine, Brenda, looked at like my submission chapters, my first 3 chapters, and she said the first 20 pages of this, you can fill in the blanks later. Like this story actually begins here. And that actually really helped because then I could just start the action a lot quicker. So the actual process of putting everything down was kind of cool because I just got to play around and see what I liked. And there are lots of people out there writing fantasy novels that like they have such a really great aesthetic to them. And when I try to write like that, it's not me. Like the dialogue's very modern, even though it is in a very not medieval, but like it is kind of like a world not of ours, obviously. But whenever I tried to write like kind of flowery language like that, it just doesn't, like I can't write Game of Thrones. Like that's not me. I can't write Tolkien. That's not me. And whenever I've tried to do that, it doesn't sound authentic. And there are many people that can write like that and it sounds fantastic. But then I try it and, every 10 lines, somebody has to like make fun of themselves or like break the tension by like being awkward. So I'm like, I had to kind of lean into that. I had to lean into the fact that my characters are going to be really messy and awkward and not perfect, which I mean, ended up making for a better book. Hopefully. I mean, watch it comes out and everyone's going to be like, I don't know what this is. This is weird. Yeah, it is, like it's just a weird book, but I had fun. I had a good time putting it together.
So the last time we talked, back in summer 2020 or early summer 2020, you were still working through, publishing it on Inkshares. And I know it has been an interesting journey from, publishing on Inkshares back then to, where we are now. So talk about that process, what that's like, trying, leaving Inkshares or what happened with that, trying to find an agent and what that whole process was like for you until you decided to kind of decided to go the Amazon route.
So Inkshares was a really good learning experience because it really taught me what I'm capable of tolerating when it comes to business and marketing and ownership and what I am not able to tolerate and also what I deserve. I started out in a good spot with them and they do really great things for a lot of really great writers. And they're a small company and I don't want to blast them too much, but the editor that they assigned to me was lovely. They are a lovely person. They gave great feedback. And we had a really great Zoom call at the end of the summer last year and just had they had great notes for me. I didn't have a problem with that. I had a problem with the people at the top because I was asking questions because it's an independent publisher and I had never done such a thing. I was just asking questions about, okay, can I still apply? Can I still get an agent? Like, I don't know how this works. I really didn't know. So I asked first the guy at the top and he gave me a very non-committal answer. And I said, am I under contract with you? Like, how does this go? And he said, well, you should just assume you're under contract with us. There's no paper involved. So that's really not how things work.
No.
So I was kind of like, okay. And then I asked them about marketing. And he said, the manuscript is still in very rough shape. So you should really focus on working on that. And I was like, okay. So I worked on it. This is months. Like I got the message about them wanting to take me on in January. And there was no real movement on anything. I gotten like one round of notes back by like July, August, which now COVID was starting. there's a lot of slow moving parts in the publishing industry. I have learned that over the last year and a half, 2 years. Even worse now, there's just so much movement. I am friends now with a lot more authors, and they've just been regaling me with horror stories about their agented friends that are on submission and their manuscripts just die on submission because nobody's picking up anything. And also people are saying they want diverse manuscripts and then they say no to the diverse manuscripts, but we're not going to talk about that. So yeah, so I was like, okay, but I still wasn't really getting an answer. Like I would have loved someone to just say, hey, don't apply for an agent because you're with us. Like that's all I asked. That's all I wanted. That is the answer that I wanted. All I wanted was either don't apply for an agent because this is with us. We are publishing this. You don't need an agent. Mm-hmm. Or we are publishing this, but you can still look for an agent because then they can work with us. Right. So I thought these were all very no. And I wrote an email to my editor being like, hey, am I still allowed to like look for an agent? Like, I'm not sure how this goes. And I thought I was being very kind about it. And I was just like, I just don't know. And I got a very vicious email back from the CEO being like, this is completely unacceptable for you to ask these questions. And your manuscript is still extremely rough. And we saw the potential. Like, I was like, okay. Also, this is the week of the election in 2020. So I was already like on edge. So I was just like, oh my God, what did I do? Oh my God. I was so upset. And immediately, because my response to these sorts of things is to immediately try to make it better. So I emailed them back and I'm apologizing. And then I talked to a friend of mine and I sent her the email and she was like, you should have waited to talk to me before you sent an email back because this is completely unacceptable what they did. And I was like, oh, and I thought about it after my initial like reaction. I thought about it and I was like, oh, like they don't want me asking questions. Like that's what it started to feel like. So about a week goes by and I send back another email being like, I've had time to think about this and really inappropriate, like really not sure, like where I didn't say this, but I want to be like, where do you get off like talking to me like that? Like like don't want to be involved. So I basically was like, I don't want to be involved in this anymore. Like it's been almost a year. There's been no movement forward. There's been no planning. There's been nothing. So I'm going to pull out of this deal. And then he wrote back like an email that I didn't even bother reading, but like the first line of it was like, I don't know where did this come from? Like, blah, 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 blah. And I was just like, and so then I don't hear from him for weeks. And then I finally had a friend of mine who is versed in like legalese draft an email that I sent that was like, if you don't get me out of this contract right now, I'm going to be like forwarding this to an attorney essentially, because there was no paperwork at all. They had no standing in keeping me under contract. There was no paper I signed. There was nothing. And I had a friend look through the language of Inkshare's website and said, yeah, there's like no legal basis for any of this. It's just like, you're here, ta-da. So now they also still have my account is still live on Inkshares. Even though there's like no way to get rid of it. Although like that version of the story that I've like samples that I've put on Inkshares is like completely not what the book is now. So I don't really care. And they finally were like, oh, it got sent out, the refunds got sent out today or something like that. And I was like, oh, today when I send you this, like basically like a cease and desist.
Right.
So I learned a lot from the experience. Mainly, it was a process of, oh, there are people out here that just think that because I was like looking to publish, that I'll just take whatever behavior. And that's just not the case. And An agent is the person, obviously I'm not looking for an agent anymore, but like the agent's purpose is to negotiate for you and to kind of be your cheerleader in a lot of ways. So I was back to querying, and I kind of said to the universe in a way, back in August of this year, because I started doing the whole querying process again. I got a couple manuscript requests, full manuscript requests, which in today's publishing world is basically like already a win. According to friends of mine who are authors, they were like, if you got 2 full manuscript requests, you are like, you're good. Like that this is a good product, which I was like, awesome.
Yeah.
It'd be great if they could then say, I would like to sign you, but whatever. So, I had one agent looking at it for a very long time and sent them the full manuscript back in June of 2021. Checked in with them in September, and they hadn't read it yet. So I was like, okay. And then a few other people sent them my stuff in March. Haven't heard, never heard back from them. Checked in with them, said they hadn't read it yet. Got one email back from an agent that I thought was an offer. Turned out they were sending it to a different Alysa that they had represented. When I got that email back from the agent saying like I sent it to the wrong person, I was sitting on my boyfriend's couch and I just started sobbing. I was like, this is never going to happen. This is never going to happen for me. Like, the universe is telling me this is never going to happen. And my boyfriend said, yeah, it's going to happen. It's just going to be a little bit more of a trek than you thought. And I remember back in October, or maybe it was September. It was maybe September. I was in the shower and I remember just going, okay. And I'm very much a fan of like speaking, like you tell the universe what you want, not like laws of attraction, like really, you still have to work to like do the thing. But right. I think speaking things into the speaking of things can really help you bring it into existence. Then you got to work for it.
Right.
But I was in the shower and I was like, give me a sign that I am on the right path with the querying and the agent thing. Like, give me a sign that I'm on the right path. Just give me a sign. And I got out of the shower and I checked my email and I got an agent rejection. And I was like, that's it. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore.
Yeah.
And about a week later, I set up my Amazon Kindle publishing account and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing it anymore. And, and I still am getting, there are 13 or 14 agents that still have my query in their inbox. And one of them has now left the business to do something else and has left their clients unagented. And I'm like, okay, I don't want any part of this. Absolutely not. Now, if I get an agent, great. But that's not I am just at a point where I don't want to be the pick me person for my whole life. I don't want to be the pick me, choose me, love me person, because I know me. If I'm that person, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to wait for something to happen instead of actually making it happen. So when I announced that I was publishing, I said, I'm not waiting around. I'm making my own destiny or whatever. I know that's super overblown language, but it is I'm choosing this for myself. And I knew it was going to be harder because I have to do everything myself. But I also know at the end of the day that I did everything myself.
Right.
This is all coming from me. I design the cover. I do this. I control what goes in the book. There's no, I got it edited, of course, but there's no there's nobody saying, oh, it's not marketable enough. Oh, you didn't do this. Oh, you know, the media, or like the marketing, like people aren't going to read this because it's got this, this, and this. Like, I don't care. Like,
Right.
I know one person is reading this book and it's you, or like whoever's listening to this. So I know people have pre-ordered it. Like, I know people, even if they don't like it, it is in their Kindle library forever because they bought it. So whatever.
I'm wondering, was that moment where you kind of like did the I'm done, you know, decided to do the self-publishing thing? What was that moment like for you? Was it, was it freeing? Was it like, yes? Was it, oh shit? What was that when you kind of let it go, and did it? What was that like for you?
Kind of a combination of all of it. It was like the, oh my God, I'm doing this. And then it was the, oh God, people are actually going to read this.
Mm-hmm.
People are going to actually like open my like very weird, very gay, very emotionally fraught thing about family and love and anxiety and pain, and they're going to read it. Oh God, like and so, you know, I have friends of my family like saying like, can't wait to read your book. And I'm like, oh God, like, I didn't realize like, this means everyone's going to, oh God, like, because it's my own little world, right? My own little like world. And I can just like create things like on my Mac, on my Microsoft Word, or in my Google Drive, like by myself. And now this is just like everybody's reading it. And so there was that moment of, oh my God. But then there was this moment of, yes, like I don't have to wait, you know, because people are like, you know, when they get their agent, they get their publishing deal or whatever, it'll say like coming in 2024 or whatever. And it's like, no, I get to publish this right now.
Right.
Get to do it right now. Now, sometimes that's really bad. Like some people need to wait, but I get to like put it out there. So it was this moment when I remember when I made the link for Amazon, I was like, okay, here we go. And it didn't really hit me until I made a Goodreads link for it, because for Amazon Kindle publishing, it spits out an ISBN.
Yep.
And once you get an ISBN, then you can put it on Goodreads, because that's how they look up the book, is through ISBNs. So when it showed up on Goodreads and I had friends giving it like preliminary 4-star reviews and stuff, like who haven't even read it, they were just giving 4-star reviews. I was like, this is crazy. Like, and I had a friend, I sent it to a friend, and she gave a review of it on Goodreads. So I already have a review of it on Goodreads.
Awesome.
I mean, it's a friend of mine, but every little bit helps. And so the fact that there are like people out there who I know like it is I think the key to all of it. Like watching it like the first day it released, go from go to like number 8 or whatever, because like usually when there's like a pre-order or whatever that pops up on Amazon, it goes up really fast.
Yeah.
And then it spikes and then it goes way down. So seeing it in like the top 10 of like LGBTQ new releases or whatever was really cool. And then I checked back like 3 days later and it was at like 306, but like, it was cool that one day.
Right.
So it was this moment of, oh God, I guess we're actually doing this, huh? Like this is actually a thing that people are going to really read. And I can't think about that too much or else I'm going to have a panic attack.
All right. So I've asked you this all 320 times you've been on the podcast, so we'll do it again. What's the best thing you've read lately?
Oh God, I have not read a lot lately because just work and stuff. But to prep for a class that I am doing at school, I read for the first time The Things They Carried, and it is absolutely incredible. Things They Carried, it's a collection of short stories about soldiers in Vietnam.
Yep.
And it is absolutely devastating. And I have the comic books of the Old Guard ready to read. I bought them a couple months ago, and I have been saying to myself, that's what I'm going to read. But then every time I have free time, I'm just editing and writing my own stuff. So at some point soon, I'm going to give myself a break and read those. But Things I Carried is the most recent thing that I read that I really loved.
Awesome. I'll throw a shout. He's going to be on the podcast in the next week or so too. Mike Sealski from the Philadelphia Inquirer has a book on Kobe Bryant. It is the story of Kobe in Philly. So it's up until he gets drafted, like when he's his youth and then his time in high school and all of that. And Mike's a friend of mine, so full disclosure, but it's a really great book because it's brilliant because it doesn't deal with the Kobe-ness of it and, all the different things that can come from it. And it does the great thing of you have this incredibly overcovered story we all know, but it takes a deep dive into this other part of the story. Really just brilliantly done. So I can give a shout out to that.
Awesome. I love that. I love that there's I love that he's so I love when biographies zoom in on a specific moment or specific time period. And then they really kind of dive deep into that. I really love it when people do that.
Yeah, because right now I'm reading a Frederick Douglass biography, and it's very well done, but it's an overall life biography. And I always struggle with the first third of a biography until they kind of like the part in the movie when they start to the first montage when they start to do the thing, and that's when it seems to pick up. And I've just got to that point, so I'm excited about that.
Awesome. Oh, that's great.
All right, so the book is out. You should go. It is out today as this episode comes out. So go buy it, go order it, go tell your friends, go read about it, and we'll be back to talk on book 2 at some point when you get writing it. But Alyssa, this has been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to The Other 51. Show notes for this and all of our episodes can be found at sportsmediaguide.com by clicking on the Other 51 tab. If you like the show, please consider giving it a rating and a review, either at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. It really does help people find the show. Our theme music is by Ellie Moritz.